Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of January 10th, 2011. Tomorrow is the deadline for the referral contest, the Ultra Mega Referral Championship. And it will be the last day that you can earn referral bonuses, it's the last day that you can earn a referral count for a tally that will reward a lifetime membership to the site to the highest number of referrals by one member. And so get cracking. If you haven't shown the site to anybody, maybe I don't know, you can give it out and you'll win the championship tomorrow in one day. That'd be great. There is also a promo code floating around, which is LOVE, LUV2, the number 2, Animate 2011. That gets you 11 free days on the site. So you can also entice your friends to try out the site free for 11 days. And that's to celebrate 2011. Happy New Year. And you can give that out freely. But again, that will expire at the end of the day on the 11th, which is tomorrow. So not too much time to take advantage of that. But we have I'm very excited. There's a big announcement coming very soon, and I'm really thinking that there's going to be a big influx of new members, and everyone's going to really enjoy all the new content. So I'm very excited about that. But let's get to the Ask Video Mail question for this week. I had to paraphrase the question because the email was very long. But here is the paraphrase question for this week's Ask Video Mail. So Francis is basically asking how to frame through animation. What are we supposed to be looking for, and how are we supposed to get any inspiration from what we see? A better way to go about learning how to frame through animation is to be self-critical and to critique your own animation. What are you not seeing in the poses that you have in your animation? What is missing? Okay? When you start doing that, and when you get really good at being self-critical, then the task of going through animation and seeing, like, oh my God, that pose is gorgeous, or that arc in that spine is amazing, or look at the force or the rhythm in that silhouette. All these things, they're just going to jump out at you because you will have gone through all the right struggles with your own work. So I want to actually answer this by framing through a piece of animation that was done at my studio. So I got up this intermediate render of a piece of animation that was done in my studio, and we're just going to frame through it and pretend like we're in the middle of our shot. Anyone who knows me knows that I am like the workflow stickler. Like every other word that I say is workflow. And what this has to do with framing through your animation is that should be a part of your workflow, framing through your animation, but not as you're working on it. Your eyes are only fresh for a certain amount of time. So you have to have very set specific moments in your workflow when you're critically looking at the kinds of things that you can glean from framing through your animation. And those are strength of the silhouette, composition, poses. Okay? So my workflow, this task shows up right after blocking. Before I want to add too many breakdowns and in-betweens and blocking plus, I normally go back through my animation and literally compare all of the poses that I hit with my thumbnails. Why do I wait till that long? Because when you're working, you kind of give up a little bit here and there. An arm that you had really stretched out probably had to be toned down just a little bit, just to make it in time back to this next pose. So timing and posing are normally kind of bitter enemies. So as you're working with timing in your blocking, posing is going to give a little here and there. So after blocking, I like to get on my thumbnails and literally go to my golden poses and see how much they were watered down and say, I'm not satisfied with that. I want to push it more. I want to get back to the original composition and the strength of the pose that I designed for this shot. Okay? So that's where it shows up for me. If you find that you can still do that later on in your process, maybe after blocking plus, and you can, push your poses and get back to really strong silhouettes with force and rhythm and composition, with all those breakdowns and in-betweens kind of like getting in the way, that's fine. But for me, that's where it goes. Some people wait till the very, very end of their shot. Other people are constantly checking. I find that if you constantly check, you're not really going to have the most efficient workflow. So first thing is to find a set part of your workflow that this process takes place. Okay, and it's not just like while you're working, back forth, all right, because you have to get the shot done. All right, so let's take a look at this piece of animation and pretend like we are watching it critically. Well, we'll watch it critically. Let's just watch it a few times through. Okay, so it's pretty cute, right? But there's a lot of problems, and as you're framing through any piece of animation, what you need to do is you definitely need to have notes. You need to have a piece of paper, something by your desk, or even like Notepad, like just the Windows program, or Text Edit if you're on a Mac, something where you can really quickly jot down the notes. You don't want to keep it all in your head because something's going to get lost. So immediately when we frame through this, what I'm seeing is that the head kind of looks like it's sprouting from the neck. It doesn't actually look like motion, it looks like it's growing. That's because the arc isn't really good. So the neck should have definitely, or the head should have definitely come out on much more of an arc so that we could have seen the motion of that full body pose change and then how it affected the head. Really like the overlap and the follow through on that nose, especially because it kind of turns into anticipation for looking from screen right to screen left. Really happy with that. So this is probably like the first major pose problem that we have, okay? It looks like he's looking right down the bridge of his nose, way off to screen left. So here's a tip. Whenever you have a character and you want them to look like they're looking behind, you don't turn their head as much as you possibly can without losing their irises, and then turn their irises as much as you possibly can, because we never like to look at just blank white eye, right? We like to see a little bit of the eyeball, or the iris rather. So the instinct, again, is to turn the head and then turn the eyes. But the problem is that once you do that, you lose how much towards the corner you can go. And it makes it look like the character is actually looking straight if their head is turned all the way over here. So it's counterintuitive, but actually the best way to make a character look like they're looking almost behind them is to bring the head back and then push the eyes way over in the corner. Because when those irises touch the corner, it actually looks like it's going behind, and you can cheat eye lines really, really easily with this method. So it's counterintuitive, I know, but if you want to look behind, actually rotate it towards camera and then move the eyes back over. Okay? So that's definitely something I would change from this. As I frame through here, all the blinks are twinned, all the eye lines, irises getting lost in that blink. Another thing I don't like is if you look at the pose right here, it's like all wiggling. I mean, it's not even touching the ground. The contact is all off, and there's this weird volume right here, this bulging, and then this looks like it's going through the floor now. It's all just sort of problems all throughout this thing, and at speed it actually works okay, but again, just not really the strongest it possibly could be. Also, this pinching right here is not working for me. Some of this stuff is only going to show itself in the render as well, so it is actually advantageous for you if you're working on your own and you do have a render setup, or just like a normal light rig that you like to throw into your scenes for preview purposes. It would be good to throw it in somewhere around blocking plus. That's normally where your lighter and your muscle person and your fur person and people who are adding cloth and dynamics and stuff like that, that's normally when they're going to start taking a look at your shot as well. And it'd be good to see what they see. So I would say definitely, if you were planning on rendering a shot, just doing a render test around blocking plus. Look how his head kind of rises as well, almost like a hot air balloon right here. No arc on that, and that's kind of upsetting. This is interesting. This is actually something that's been done really well. I said before in a what was it? It was my 3D World article. You can actually find the 3D World article that I wrote for the November issue of 3D World magazine on 3D World Mag, where I said that the character that has, you know, 6 limbs or is missing a nose or whatever, you can still imply that the performance using their other parts of the body. So I pointed out in the article that, like Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc., and this was actually on the special edition DVD, like the featurettes or something like that, where they said, like, he can't smell his armpit because he doesn't have a nose, he just has a mouth. But what they did instead was they just took the mouth like this and went like that. And it just, you don't even notice it. You don't even notice that he doesn't have a nose. It looks like he's sniffing. It's because that sound paired with that motion of the lips it just implies that sniffing of the nose. Okay, so I like here how the animator actually had the eyelids double as the eyebrows and had the character go ha as he looks at himself in the mirror. So that's actually something that's pretty nice. All right, so then as the lizard starts coming into the scene, we got a lot of pinching and posing issues in the legs. I chalk that up to the rig. I actually really like the straight tail. We see so many characters, and it's not as if the tail doesn't bend. Look how it like goes straight. I like how it really kind of makes him look like he's angry and that this is a really intense moment for him. We see so many characters that have tails that are super wiggly and like cat-like when they're not supposed to. This is also another interesting frame. I like how the animator scaled the hand up on the punch to make it look like the character, is really walloping the snake here. I also like the stretch on the snake that happens right here. But what I don't like is how the hand just really in front of us just shrinks. I don't like that because you could do so much more hiding of the scaling of the hand if you kept it in motion, right? And then it would just be like, wait a second, did that hand like grow when he hit him? You'd have to go back and check it. Also, this is probably a little too soon to scale the hand up. We're having a major pose problem over here with the elbow because it's being blocked by the hand. A lot more follow through also possible on the body here of this lizard. Little things like intersections you want to point out. And here's this last moment where he puts his vest on. We're really missing a beat where the character is like, yeah, this is my vest, it looks great, and I'm taking it. What up now? There's not that kind of proud beat. So we're definitely missing that beat, and it's a shame that we don't end up getting it. One nice thing also with the snake is that he kind of, the creative idea was that he puffs himself up by inhaling, and that kind of gives him shoulders. So now the vest won't fall off. That was kind of the idea that we got from the creator. What I like is that when he gets punched, he deflates, and he always, this might be just like a side effect of the rig not being, the greatest. It actually, I think it's kind of funny that he's like really thin right here and all stretched out and like kind of like a wet noodle. I think that actually works really well, and it's nice that we kind of got that for free from the time constraints. Sometimes necessity is the mother of invention, isn't it? There's all sorts of problems here, though. I mean, like the vest is intersecting like crazy on this lizard. So from here, it's clear that there's a lot of work to do, and that in framing through, you're not only just seeing the little obvious things like intersections and stuff like that, but really looking for overall poses. For instance, this is a pretty successful, I would say, overall pose with this anger, because his, the really straight tail, he really has nice fleshy eyebrows that really kind of pinch and wrinkle up in this mean pose. The mouth could probably be a little bit stronger, and the foot stance and the shoulder pinching could be better. The shoulder pinching was a problem with the rig. So again, you do what you can with the tools you have, but also as you're working, definitely looking for moments to improve pose and to push pose and make it a lot stronger. And then as you're working, also trying to find as many points you can to really go back to those poses that you really wanted to hit. I'm sure a thumbnail of him looking proudly in the mirror here would have a little bit more of a puffed chest, even though we have like that inflated chest, but a little bit more of a proud pose, maybe a little bit more interest on that face, some sort of asymmetry, some sort of, maybe like a higher cheek towards the mirror to kind of show that he's, oh yeah, look at me, kind of full of himself in a way. And certainly, my gosh, I mean, I know the animators battled with the rig, but certainly something a little bit stronger than this kind of like pinched, soft serve ice cream. And I'm being very, very, G-rated when I chose soft serve ice cream to describe this shape. But they probably could have found a much stronger kind of coiled shape for the bottom here. Difficult rig, taken into consideration as well. So I would say to Francis, watch a lot of your own animation frame by frame to improve your ability to critique animation and to be really close up and critical of what's going on a frame by frame basis in terms of pose. And when you're watching animation at speed of your favorites, Pixar and Disney and all those things, then point out for yourself moments that you want to go back and frame through. It can be a really fun exercise as you're watching a film to say, wow, I got to see what went on there. But thank you for your question, Francis, and keep on framing through animation, yours and commercial, other released work by studios and stuff, because it is a very, very, very important and powerful way to improve your animation, is to be critical and to be watching. To that note, I would say that being a part of the forums and critiquing other people's animation is just as big a part of becoming a great animator as doing animation. We have to be self-critical, so in order to develop and hone those skills, it's a good idea to watch animation that you've never seen before and then critique it. Reason being is that you're working on your animation, you're working, and then you lose your critical eye a little bit, or a lot, and then it's not the same experience as looking at someone else's animation for the first time. Another thing is great is to go onto the 11 Second Club forums, or the 11 Second Club, sign up and then vote, because you watch 175, 200 animations of the exact same dialogue file, and you get to see, wow, how much you can do with the file and how little you can do, how many opportunities are missed with some of the entries. So critiquing animation is a huge part of this, and I really want to encourage everyone to make that a staple of your animation experience. Another thing you can do to the animation mentor students who are on the site is to look around the campus, cruise the campus, and just go into other people's public reviews and stuff like that and look at that. There's like 1,000 students on Animation Mentor at any given time. That's an amazing amount of animation that you get to look at and critique. So really just want to overall encourage everyone to make critique a part of your animation learning experience. If you have any more questions, please submit your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com, and I will be sure to look at every single one and put them into an Ask Videomail in the future. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being at the site. I'm really enjoying it still. I can't say any more than that, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are too. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.